Hey players, welcome to a special edition of the Real Tea with Double D, where we will be interviewing innovative author Javid Jenkins. He's going to be talking to us about his new book, Illegitimate, that is available for pre-sale right now. It is releasing fully in April, correct? Correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be with him tonight. He sent me about 4 chapters of the book, and you guys, I literally read those 4 chapters in maybe a couple of hours. I don't even think it was that long. Literally a page turner. I was on the edge of my seat, and I'm anticipating I'm really wanting to beg to go ahead and get access before y'all get it, because I'm like, it was so good. Javid and I have known each other for a few years because of the Tickety Talk. He's more like
Hmm.
a brother than me. Really enjoy all of the content that he makes. And here recently, he told me that he was going to be writing a book, and I was just so excited to hear what was going to be in this book and what it was going to be talking about. He gave me kind of like a maybe a preview of what it was going to be, but I'm telling y'all, when I read it. When I read the 4 chapters, I wasn't even expecting it to be this deep. Um, you know, you guys have really got to hear from him. And I wanted to bring him on here so you guys could kind of get to know him a little bit, get to know what inspired him to write this book, and also learn more about what we can look forward to in April when this book is fully released. So, Javid, you're on deck, baby. Tell us a little
That's
bit
me.
about yourself.
That's the name they gave me. That is the name they gave me.
So,
Shoot.
so tell us a little bit about yourself. Before we get into the actual book, tell us a little bit about you. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions here about you and what inspired you to begin your writing journey and writing this book.
Well, Tiffany, thank you first and foremost for having me on your platform. As you know, it is always a pleasure to bask in the glow of Double D Mother and just laugh at your creativity, and the things that you have done on the internet has been amazing. It's been invaluable. It helped get us a lot through COVID. I mean, you were one of the first people that I started watching when we were in that situation. So thank you so much for all of that. Now, to your audience, the folks that may not know me, my name is Javid Jenkins. I'm from Chicago. I am a father, a husband, a son, and a businessman. And those are kind of my 4 core attributes that make up my personality and my character. Everything that I do, everything that I am, is based in one of those 4 things. You know, being a father, being a husband, being a son, being a businessman. And that's who I am. You know, I'm a creative. I am a crazy guy. I like to have fun. I like to tell jokes, and I like to tell stories. And that's part of how I went down this road of writing this book, because I like to tell stories. But what better story to tell than my own? So that's what this book is about. It's my story. It's about me.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And you got inspired to write it. Like,
Mhm.
what made you just, because I know it was something that you was thinking about, but what made you actually buckle down now and say, hey, like, I'm going to do this now? How long have you been working on it? And what made you just say, I'm going to buckle down and get this done because I got a lot to say?
Well, the version that you have now took me 3.5 years to write. It
Mhm.
was it was a 3.5 year process. I started it when I turned 50, and I just kept pushing until I got it done. However, I started working on something similar to this 20 years ago. Uh, 20 years ago, I started working on this thing, and the way it was written 20 years ago, it was a fictionalized tale of who I am and what I've been through. Because some of the things that I've experienced in my life, I didn't want to expose to the world. I didn't want to tell people this is what happened to me. So when I was in my 20s trying to do this, I was trying to protect my manhood, protect my reputation, protect all that. So I created this fictional world to try to tell this story. But I hadn't lived enough. I hadn't put enough miles on my soul back then to even make it interesting.
Mhm.
So I just stopped, and it just sat there in my computer for years. And when mom got sick. For those of your viewers that don't know, back in 2020, my mother started developing dementia, and I became her caregiver. And I watched her mind slowly disappear. And I started collecting stories from her. You know, Mom, tell me about this. Tell me about that. When did this happen? When did that happen? And it went into overdrive. That's my big brother right there, blood brother right there. It went into overdrive when my mother, when I had to start handling her business, and I couldn't do it because I didn't have all of her proper documents. And I went down all in her basement, all in her files. I've got a box sitting right here right now for stuff that I'm still going through, trying to find her birth certificate, and I could not find it anywhere. So I ended up having to hunt it down, called Cook County, which is the county we lived in. They didn't have it, called all over, found myself all the way down in a place called Dixon, Illinois. And that's where it was. And that's when I started finding out her story. And when I finally got a copy of her birth certificate, my mother, her birth certificate had the word illegitimate stamped on it because she didn't have a father. Wow. And so in her moments of lucid moments, I started asking her, you know, where's your birth certificate? And she said, you know, I throw it away because that word is, it's embarrassing to me. She never wanted to be illegitimate. She didn't want people to know that she didn't have a father. And by it being stamped on her birth certificate like that, it was just a big mark of shame for her. So I started working on my project based off of that. And then doing that, I found out, damn, you know, I am too also a bastard child, an illegitimate child, you know? So in going through that process, I learned some things about her and a lot of things about me.
Is that how you came up with the name for the book, Illegitimate,
Yes.
because of that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering.
That is the exact reason why.
Absolutely. I remember watching a movie called Bastard out of Carolina, and that was on the girl's birth certificate, and the mother was working hard to get it off of the birth certificate, the word illegitimate. So as I was reading your book, and I got to that portion of it where I learned, you know, that portion of the story, I was like, okay, now it's aligning to me. What's happening here? I see what you're saying. So that makes perfect sense to me. So can you tell me, so you said the book, you've been basically 3 years. It sat in there for 3 years before you started working on it. So once you started working on it and decided to go ahead and get through with it, how long did it take you to finish? How long was that process?
The finished product, that was the 3.5 years.
Okay.
The original version of this was 20 years ago, and it sat for 20 years. I started when I turned 50 trying to get this thing done, and that was a 3.5 year process.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes it was rough though, but yeah, 3.5 year process.
And it was rough because you were basically telling your own story, correct? Like going through those corridors of your own story and reopening some of those things. Did you find it cathartic though, even though it was, you know, traumatizing? I mean, not traumatizing, but it was, you had to open up those doors, but did you find it cathartic to like put those things on paper and just kind of go through them again?
You can use the word traumatic because it was. It was. For so much of my life, I've been telling lies about my past and how I grew up and my relationship with my brothers and my relationship with my father and all of that sort of thing. I've been telling I fictionalized stories about how it really was because I never wanted to tell the truth. So when I sat down and started actually telling the truth, the biggest part of the writing process for me was convincing myself to don't hold the lie, tell the truth, tell what happened. And part of my therapy when I was seeing a therapist was making sure I told the truth, my truth, what I saw, what I experienced, so that I wouldn't hide it. And so it was cathartic in that I finally put it on paper and said, this is what I experienced. And then it was therapeutic because I stopped lying to myself about these things and started telling the truth. It took a lot to detach myself from those lies that I made, that I began to believe in some instances and start telling the truth about it all. And I'm telling you, I feel so much better about it all right now. And that was one of the reasons I started doing it, because I wanted to be better. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to exist better in my skin and in my life and in my eyes. I wanted to be able to look in the mirror and see a father and see a husband, see a son, see a businessman that's proud of being me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for so long, I was not proud of me. And, you know, a lot of people, they see this guy and they see this bluster and they see this, you know, this charisma. That was just me hiding behind, you know, that little boy was back there hiding, you know, this was his shield. This was his protector. But now
Right.
I can be myself. Now I can be me.
Right. Absolutely. Who do you feel like is your target audience for this book?
Oh, that's the number one target audience for this book was me. Hey, listen, I first started writing this thing and it was for nobody but me. Just wanted to get it out. But then as I started getting through it, I realized there's a lot of men in this world that have probably experienced what I've experienced. And they probably hid a lot of what they've gone through and just not willing to say. Now, I have made attempts to start mental health groups for men and discussion groups for men over the years, and it has all fallen on deaf ears because guys just don't want to talk about what they've been through. We
Mm-hmm.
pack it down, we pack it away, and we stick it in the closet. And the next thing you know, our families, our children, our business partners, our wives, they're the ones that have to suffer because we got all this unresolved shit in our background that we don't want to expose. So that's the target audience. I would hope that some father somewhere would read this and get courage enough, if nothing else, to just go get some therapy. If nothing else, just go talk to someone about what they've been through. And I'm not saying that anybody has to go and do what I did and tell all of their business in a book, but at the very least, talk about it, get it out, because when you get to be my age, when you're almost pushing 54, you can't have a lot of stuff pressing on your nerves like that, man. They start creating issues, heart issues, and all kinds of stuff. You don't want that. So you need to free your mind, free your body. Just as much as we lift weights and go running and doing all that, we got to work mentally as well. So that's my main target audience.
Mm-hmm.
The second target audience is people like you. You know, I would love for you to read it and hopefully maybe just an inkling, see a man that you know, and then understand why certain times of year he shuts down. Certain times of year he gets a certain type of emotion happening, and it's not because of you, it's not because of the kids, it's not even because of finances. It's because there's something in his background that's triggering him to act that way. And maybe you will learn or know and find like, hey, this is why he's this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then open up conversation with him and let him know, you know, what's going on and how he can find some help. You know, you never know. A lot of guys might have every year on the day of their father's birthday, they might get real emotional, but they ain't never told you their daddy's birthday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're wondering why every time, damn, what's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
And then he uses that as a reason to get mad about something else. So I would hope that men would read it first and go get help. And then women would read it and understand some of the emotional roller coasters that their husbands and boyfriends and sons go through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So could you tell us maybe a little bit? I know you can't tell us a lot, but could you tell us a little bit of what we can expect from this book? Like a little bit of the story in there, like something that we can pluck from there that comes from the book. I'm hoping you pick my favorite, but pluck from it and just tell us a little bit about it so these people can get while I'm saying what I'm saying about this book, that it was an absolute page turner.
Oh, wow. That's I don't know what your favorite part of the stuff I sent you is, but from what I sent you, my favorite part is discussing my mother's journey. That was my favorite part. How she became where she was at. Her idealized life that was flipped, turned upside down, simply because she fell in love with the wrong guy. You know, how she was saved from a situation, raised in a really nice situation, then found herself falling back into a negative situation. That was my favorite part of the story to tell. This is the first chapter, and the first chapter is entitled "As." That is a play on the Stevie Wonder song "As."
Mhm.
And I have a playlist for this book on Apple, but I'll share that with you later. Each chapter, there's something about one of those songs that's found in each chapter. And Mom's chapter is Ass, because there's a line in that song where Stevie says, we all know sometimes life brings you sorrow. You know that part. And you
Mhm.
time and space. You can bet your bottom dollar price twice as double. God knows exactly where he wants you to be placed.
Mhm.
And that one line, God knows exactly where he wants you to be placed, is all about my mother.
Mhm.
Because here it is. My mother was born, for those of you who don't know, in an insane asylum. She was born in an insane asylum in Dixon, Illinois. And she was born to a teenage girl who had possibly been sexually assaulted. And she was sent down there because there was no father, and the teenage girl was infected with syphilis.
Mhm.
That's the situation my mother was born in. And when she was born, they had to treat her eyes for blindness, because syphilis can cause blindness and even death. And my blood grandmother, Benny Frazier, was in that place for 7 months before she even gave birth to my mother. And when my mom was born, they made a phone call. The nurses made a merciful phone call to a family in Chicago and said, hey, we have another child born of the same mother. Can you come pick this child up too? Because Benny had been in that same situation just a few years earlier with my Aunt Pearl. And so that family, John and Sevalia Roberts, had mercy and drove down to Dixon, Illinois, and picked up my mother as a baby and came back to Chicago.
Mhm.
For those of you that don't know, Dixon is about 45 minutes to an hour west of Chicago. And we're talking about driving there in 1941 in a broken down pickup truck. That wasn't an easy drive. It wasn't safe. It wasn't something that they could have done, just, hey, let's go run over to Dixon and grab this baby. They had to really take their time. And that's my grandmother right there. That's Savalia right there. And if they had not been kind enough to go pick that baby up and bring her home, then we wouldn't be having this conversation today. So telling Mom's story and how she got to where she was, in Savalia and John Roberts' home, and raised as a princess. I mean, she was raised as a Southern belle, baby.
Mhm.
Um, Everything from proper manners to, how to sit and how to fold your arms and how to speak to people, and, how to dress yourself and how to address people and how to carry yourself when you're out in public. That's how Mom was raised.
Mhm.
And she had the perfect life, man, in that sense, from the time she was born till the time she was 18. I like to refer that as, because my mother's name is Alice. That's the Alice in Wonderland time of her life.
Mhm.
Um, Everything she needed, she had. Everything she wanted, she had. And then she fell in love with this dude that was a military guy, and she thought that she picked the right one. And
Mhm.
they went off and got married. And well, I can't say too much, but it's in the book. They went off and got married, and it did turn out really good for Mom, and that started a lot of decline in her life. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way.
Put it that way. Absolutely. Absolutely. So earlier you said that when you started caring for your mother,
Mhm.
you started asking her stories, asking her questions, and you started writing those things down. Is that the things that I read in the book from her perspective? Like when you would take those caveats over, like you would be telling a story, and then it would be like I was hearing it from her.
Yes.
Was the okay? So that makes
Those,
100% sense. Okay.
those are her words verbatim. And some of those stories I had heard before. So
Hmm.
I had to kind of be real careful about what I believed of those stories and what I presented to you, because again, Mom was going in and out of, these bouts with dementia.
Hmm.
So we would have to play this game before we have our conversation so that I know where her mental was.
Hmm.
And the game was really simple. It was like, I would go, where we at? And she would go, 9538. That's the address we lived at. And I say, what's my name? And she would say my name. Then I go, what's your name? And she'd say her name. Then I go, tell me about Gerald. And she started telling me about Gerald.
Hmm.
And I knew that because she knew her address, knew my name, knew where she was, knew her name, that she could tell me some things that would be lucid.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere in it all, I could start seeing down towards the end of the story, it start trailing off and getting to the point where I know, okay, she's disappearing on me, so I have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, I would speak to her about those things, and a lot of it I had to cut out of the book because Gerald is still alive, and I can't slander the man, and it could be considered slander if I talk about it too much. But
Yeah,
but yeah, a good portion of it is her stories. Yes, definitely.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, um, will there be another part to this book?
Whew. Um, yes, there can be, because there are two parts in the book. Once you see the rest, that two major parts in my life that I didn't do a lot of detail on.
Okay. Okay.
And part of the reason I didn't do a lot of detail on it is because just like the stuff with my brothers, I wasn't ready to unpack it.
Ah.
I'm not ready to unpack it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And when I am ready to unpack it, the one part, like going into depth about when I was a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go into depth in that. I talk about my ministry, I talk about when I pastored, and I talk about a few isolated incidents when I was in the church, but I didn't go into depth in that.
Mm-hmm.
So that in and of itself is a whole book that I can go into. So yes, there will be a part two or a companion to this. Yes, definitely.
Someone asked in the comments, is this a fictional story but based on facts, or is it an autobiography? I know it's not fictional. So would you consider this an autobiography?
This is definitely an autobiography. This is a memoir. Everything you read is 100% true. Um, I tried to I tried to only call the names of people that have passed away, and people that are still with us. They might got a nickname in there instead of their actual name, but it is 100% true. This is a 1,000% my recollection of things that happened, and if anybody sees it and they want to challenge me, come on here. We'll talk about it because I stand by everything, 10 toes down on everything I wrote in this book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So are you gonna think about doing any book signings? Do you know if you're gonna do that? Some book signings?
Yeah, we are going to do the book release is going to be April 12th.
Okay.
Now we're gonna have a that's gonna be the actual release date of the book, and that day will be book signings. And then I'm still in the process of scheduling other signings and events. If anybody wants me to bring it out and come on and sit on a panel and talk, I'll bring it and do book signings for that as well. But April 12th is the actual release date. We're taking pre-orders now, so folks can get in line and get their book. And when you get your book, it'll be delivered. There'll be a signature. I'll sign it, and then there'll be a message in there. And there's a couple of other little trinkets that I'm gonna throw in the box with it, so that you get some gifts for being some of my first pre-order folks. And
All right.
today is actually the official pre-order date. Today
Today,
is
today
today
is
is
the
the
day. That book is available for pre-sale at www.javidljenkins.com. And you guys can go over and get in so you can get you a signed copy, and also
absolute.
some other little things that he's going to be throwing into that. um will this book be available on Audible, or and are you thinking about doing an ebook version to this? You have such a
There
wonderful voice, man. I
there
would
will be thank you. Thank you. There will be an ebook version of it available a week or so after the print version is available.
love.
Um, I hadn't thought about the Audible thing. I know a few people have asked me about that,
Mhm.
and I may as well go ahead and do it because I know audiobooks are really popular for a lot of folks who just want to listen and drive and things like that. And so I probably will definitely do that. In fact, I know I will. There's no sense in saying that probably. I'm going to do it.
So when he does, you guys, I'll make sure that I'm somebody was asking about that in the comments. I had it down as
Okay.
one of the questions. I'll definitely make sure that it's available to you all who are followers of mine, supporters of mine. I'll make sure I let you guys know, and we'll keep updated. But right now, again, that book is available. It's right on your screen there. You can go ahead and pre-order that book that is releasing again on April. What day?
12.
April 12th is the actual release date. But you can
Hmm.
get it in pre-order, and then if you do that, you'll get a signed copy and some other trinkets that he will be putting in there along with the book. So I'm excited about the entire thing. I didn't even know. I have to get my pre-order in because I haven't put my pre-order in. So I got to do that when we get off of here. So I'm gonna make sure I do it.
Well,
Uh,
you're gonna get a signed copy either way. So
hey, listen, I want my signature from you and I want one from Eleanor because hey, I'm not
okay.
playing about that. I want her signature in there because you know how I feel about her. You know how I feel
Yeah,
about my baby girl. So
yeah, yeah.
uh, so is there anything else that you would like to add, about this? Like anything you would like to tell the audience about this book? Like what do you feel like their experience would be if they were reading this? And what do you feel like they can take away from this actual book?
You mentioned my daughter, and for me, that is the culmination of all of this. When
Mhm,
you have a life like I've had, there wasn't much upside to it all.
mhm,
I could have really been in jail or in an insane asylum myself because of some of the things that I've been through. But the determination that my mother instilled into me to be better, to grow stronger, to always try to strive for success led me to my family and to my children. And one of the reasons why I did this is because I wanted to change the narrative surrounding my name. And there's several chapters in there about my name and what it means and what it meant. Because my brothers were some hellions. They were hell on wheels in our city. And there was a long time that whenever their names came up, I was associated with it. It was like, oh, you're their brother. And I would get treated differently because of the things that they did.
mhm,
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to redefine the outcome of this name. That's part of the title, Illegitimate, redefining the outcome, so that when my children speak their name, Jenkins, that they can be proud of it, so that they don't have to worry about the death and destruction that was attached to it. They don't have to worry about the messiness that was in creating this name. Because for readers, when you guys read this, my legal last name is Jenkins, but it's not my real name because my father's last name is Jackson. And but there's a reason why mom put this name on me, because she didn't want the word illegitimate stamped on my birth certificate. So she gave me the last name of the man that she married when she was 18. So I did all of this to try to put my children in a position where in life, when you hear the name Jenkins, you think about my kids and their achievements. You think about some of the things that I have achieved. You think about the legacy that I've left in this world, whether it's being my business acumen here in the city, the father that I am, the husband that I am, the person, the friend that I am. Everything that I do, I try to do it in a position and a point that when people talk about me, when I'm not in the room, it's in positive lights. I
right.
know I'm like Kitchen, I'm not for everybody. I'm not going to say that everybody I met has positive things to say about me, but I can say everybody that I met, nobody's going to be able to say, yeah, he was just like his brothers. No, you're never going to say that about me, ever.
Exactly.
So I just want your readers to know that this book is going to be moving, it's going to be emotional, it's going to be hard to read in some places. But there is an upside. It does climb out, and you do see me achieve, and you see me come out of some pretty dark places. You also get a chance to meet some of the people who were instrumental in helping me get to where I am today, whether they were surrogate parents, close friends, things of that nature. They're mentioned in there as well. So my hope for you all is that when you pick this book up, that one, you'll say some words of encouragement for me as you're reading it, because I'm going to need it moving forward in life. But two, that you'll see something in there that will uh, help you feel stronger about yourself and give you some direction to move into a more positive place in your life. You're not a bad mistake. You're not a negative outcome. You are not the sum total of your experiences. You are whom you make yourself to be. And if you can take a few moments each day to just stand up and say, I'm better than what I used to be, I'm stronger than what I used to be, and I'm going to be that person, then you can see your life change. I learned that a boy doesn't become a man until he stops waiting for somebody to come and help him. And I had to learn to help myself. I had to learn to pick myself up. I had to learn to shake off everything that folks had done to me, done against me, and tried to hurt me, hinder me, stop me, and had to shake it off and then realize that I'm going to decide where I go. I'm going to decide what I be. Nobody else can decide that for me. And it was when I figured that out, that's when I saw change happening in my life. And that's what I want you to figure out so that you can have change in your life too. And that's what you're going to see in the book, me figuring that out.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm so thankful that you came over to sit with me on such a big day, because this is a huge day for you. Pre-orders are available now, you guys. I am encouraging you to go and check out www.javidljenkins.com and go and place your pre-orders now. Again, you're going to get a signed copy of this book. I'm not just talking about this book like I ain't never seen it. Okay. I'm telling you, Double D has dipped into it. He sent me some, and it was really a page turner. And I'm excited to see what else is in this book. I'm just so excited, and I'm so happy for you. So proud of you for just putting out such great work, and also with this, working on yourself. I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. And I feel like we need this for Black men. We need this. We
I
need
agree.
this for Black men. We absolutely do. Any closing that you would like to say to the audience?
I can't see who's watching, but to all of you that are watching, thank you so much for tuning in for these last few minutes to hear this story. Thank you so much for being supporters of mine and Double D's. But I can't thank you enough. And I just ask that if you come to my page, share it, talk about it, let people see it so that it can grow and go beyond where we're sitting today. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your ears. And thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers right now, because I'm needing it. I'm still really nervous about this, man. I'm still really nervous, but it's here now and I can't do nothing about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys, again, I'm going to remind you that this book is available on pre-order right now. You see it on your screens. Please go and tap it.
Please do.
If you're watching the replay, is going to be in the description of this video, where you can go and just click it. It should be highlighted on Facebook, so that way you can just click it and it takes you directly over to the website where you can go ahead and put your pre-order and get your signed copy. The full release of this book is April 12th, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. And you guys, since I brought it over here, I'm going to definitely be giving you updates from Javid. Make sure you go and follow him too. He's also tagged in this. Make sure you guys go and follow him so you can keep up with this absolutely amazing book. And again, make sure I keep you guys updated. If he does a book release, we're definitely going to be putting that not a book release, but a book signing. We're going to put this out there. And when that ebook is available, I'll keep you guys updated. All right, players, thank y'all so much for joining. And Javid, thank you again for coming over on such a big day for you. So proud of you and so grateful to be the one that you chose to sit with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Y'all have a good one, players. I'll see you guys later. Peace.